Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep today into the world of PDS Ltd.
PDS Ltd.
Yeah, you might not know them right off the bat,
Right.
but they are a giant in the global apparel industry.
Absolutely. They're behind the scenes,
Yeah,
making clothes for some of the hugest brands that you know.
exactly. And they just came out with their Q3 FY25 earnings report.
Ooh.
We got the transcript and audio from their investor call.
Very cool.
And we've got their investor presentation deck.
Lots to dig into.
So much to go over, tons to dig into.
Yeah.
The big question is, how are they doing on their mission to hit that ambitious 555 goal?
Yeah, their 555 strategy, basically, they want to reach $5 billion in gross merchandise value, or GMV, if you're in the know.
For the cool kids.
Yeah, with a 5% profit margin. And they're trying to do all this by FY29.
Ambitious.
Ambitious.
Very ambitious.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. They actually set an intermediate target.
Okay.
They're calling it their 333 strategy,
I like it.
aiming for 3 billion GMV.
Okay.
2.2 billion in U.S. revenue, and a 3% profit margin by FY27.
So like stepping stones
Stepping stones, yeah.
to the big goal.
Exactly to that 555.
I love it.
Yeah. And it's not a change in the overall strategy, right?
Right.
It's more like a sign of confidence.
Yeah, I think so. And, it gives them and investors
Yeah.
like really clear benchmarks to track their progress.
Okay, so how are they actually performing?
Yeah.
Did they hit their targets this quarter?
Well, the revenue for the 9-month period is up by a massive 26%,
Wow.
reaching over 9,052 crore rupees.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of rupees.
It is a lot of rupees.
Yeah, putting them on the right track for both their 333 and 555 targets.
Okay, so what's driving all this growth?
Well, PDS has outlined 4 key strategies, or pillars as they like to call them.
Pillars. Okay.
Yeah, for how they plan to reach these goals.
All right, let's unpack these pillars.
Let's do it.
First up, deepening customer relationships. So it's not just about landing new clients, it's about nurturing the ones they already have.
Exactly. And they've got some pretty impressive numbers to back that up.
Okay.
Take their business with Primark, for example.
Okay.
Their largest customer,
Huge.
business with them, grew by an incredible 52% in just 9 months.
52%.
52.
That's huge.
It's a serious commitment
Yeah.
to those long-term partnerships.
Yeah, and it sounds like a really solid foundation for sustainable growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they aren't just focused on their existing customers.
Right.
Their second pillar is all about what they call strategic customer acquisition. They're actively expanding into new markets, with North America being a prime example.
How's that going?
Their North American sales have surged by 70% this period.
Wow.
It's a clear sign that their global expansion strategy is working.
So they're strengthening those existing partnerships and conquering new markets.
It's impressive.
What's the third pillar?
The third pillar focuses on diversifying into high-value categories. Think home goods, general merchandise items that command higher margins
Yeah.
than your basic apparel.
That's interesting.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Consumer preferences are always evolving.
Yeah, people are looking for more than just clothes these days.
Exactly. Give me an example.
Yeah, what have they actually done to put this into action?
Certainly in the investor call, Sanjay, the group CEO,
Okay.
highlighted their success with home textiles as a key driver of growth.
So they're not just talking the talk,
No.
they're walking the walk.
Walking the walk.
Okay, so we've got deepening customer relationships, we've got strategic customer acquisitions, and we've got diversifying into high-value categories.
That's 3.
What about number 4?
Number 4 is all about implementing strategic cost initiatives.
Uh-huh.
So it's about streamlining operations, maximizing efficiency, and ultimately boosting profitability.
So they're not just focused on growing revenue, they're also focused on optimizing those costs to make sure they're growing profitably, which is where the partnership with Boston Consulting Group, or BCG, comes in.
BCG.
BCG.
Yeah, they've teamed up with BCG for a major cost transformation project.
That sounds intense.
Yeah, looking at every aspect of their operations, from sourcing fabrics and trims to managing employee costs and even optimizing things like sampling and courier services.
Wow, they are really looking under every rock.
Every ride.
What kind of savings are they looking at?
Well, they're targeting a potential 1 to 2% reduction in their overall cost base.
1 to 2% doesn't sound like much.
Doesn't sound like much, but remember, we are talking about a multi-billion-dollar company.
Okay.
So those small percentage points,
Translate to big bucks.
big bucks.
Wow.
And they're targeting even greater savings in key verticals, like Poetic Gym, Simple Approach, and techno design, aiming for a 3 to 4% cost reduction there.
Okay, so we've got great performance. We've got a clear strategy. They're actively going after that cost optimization.
I like it.
But let's get into some specifics.
Okay.
This Knit Gallery acquisition really caught my eye.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. This Knit Gallery acquisition is a fascinating case study in how PDS is executing its growth strategy.
And it ties right into those pillars we were just talking about, right?
Yes.
Expanding their footprint in those key sourcing hubs.
Exactly. Knit Gallery is based in Tirupur, India,
Okay.
which is a major textile center.
Got it.
Acquiring a 55% stake in Knit Gallery instantly boosts PDS's manufacturing capacity in India. In fact, Knit Gallery boasts a capacity of 40 million pieces per year.
40 million pieces per year. That's wild.
That's a lot of pieces.
So it's not just about being in India, it's about tapping into that existing manufacturing expertise and capacity.
For sure.
So what kind of products does Knit Gallery specialize in?
They specialize in baby wear, children's wear, nightwear, and innerwear.
Oh, cool.
And here's another interesting point. They are already working with big names like Ernstings Family Primark and TJ Maxx.
Wow, so they're not starting from scratch here.
They're acquiring a company with proven capabilities and a strong customer base.
Absolutely.
Seems like a smart move to solidify their presence in a rapidly growing market.
It is, and it aligns perfectly with the Make in India initiative, which is all about boosting domestic manufacturing.
So it really ticks a lot of boxes.
A lot of boxes.
Strengthens manufacturing capabilities, expands product portfolio, aligns with those global sourcing trends, and even supports a government initiative.
It's like a strategic win.
It's a strategic win.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Primark earlier. They're also heavily involved with Ted Baker,
Oh, yeah.
a brand that's been going through some tough times lately.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm curious how PDS fits into that picture.
Yeah, well, this is where things get a little bit counterintuitive.
Oh.
PDS actually licenses the Ted Baker brand from Authentic Brands Group, or ABG.
Oh.
They don't actually own the brand itself.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not directly tied to Ted Baker's retail operations, which have been struggling.
Right.
How does that impact PDS, though?
Well, here's the interesting part. PDS actually benefited from the closure of many Ted Baker stores.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
They were able to pivot away from relying on retail sales and instead focused on wholesale and converting existing concessions to pre-sold inventory.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Can you back up?
Sure.
Explain what concessions are.
Concessions are essentially shop-in-shops,
Okay.
spaces within larger department stores,
Got it.
dedicated to a specific brand. In this case, Ted Baker had these concessions
Okay.
within other retailers.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so by converting these concessions to pre-sold inventory,
Uh-huh.
PDS essentially shifted their focus from relying on foot traffic in those stores to securing those larger orders directly from the retailers.
Oh, so they're going right to the source.
Exactly. And this actually stabilized the Ted Baker business for PDS.
Wow.
They turned a challenging situation into an opportunity for growth.
So smart.
Pretty savvy.
And it sounds like they're looking to leverage that UK infrastructure even further.
They-
During the investor call, Palak, Seth, PDS's executive vice chairman, hinted at plans to add more brands to their portfolio using that existing UK setup.
That's right. It plays into that whole one PDS approach
Okay.
that they're really emphasizing.
Yeah.
They're all about finding synergies, maximizing efficiency, and leveraging their strengths across different areas of the business.
So we've got growth through acquisitions, we've got smart brand management, and a really clear focus on cost optimization.
They've got a lot going on.
What are they doing to make sure they're not just growing, but they're growing profitably?
Well, this is where those cost transformation initiatives become absolutely crucial.
Right.
Remember that project with BCG?
Oh, yeah, BCG.
It's not just a side project. It's a core part of their strategy.
Yeah, they're aiming for that 3 to 4% cost reduction across key verticals.
Huge savings.
Huge savings.
Yeah.
What specific areas are they targeting?
They're looking at everything fabric and trim optimization employee costs.
Yeah.
Even things like sampling and courier services.
Oh, wow. So really, they're leaving no stone unturned.
No stone unturned.
And they're not just dictating changes from the top down, are they?
No, they're not.
It sounds like they're taking a more collaborative approach.
Absolutely. They even held their first ever global suppliers meet in Delhi, bringing domestic and international vendors together to find those cost synergies.
Wow, that's a really interesting approach. It seems like they're really building a more sustainable and profitable business model for the future.
Yeah, they seem to be doing all the right things.
But before we move on, I'm curious, how did PDS manage to achieve such significant growth in North America? What were the key factors that contributed to that success?
That's a great question, and one we'll delve into deeper in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. Stay tuned, everyone, as we continue exploring the world of PDS Ltd. Welcome back to our deep dive into PDS Ltd. If you recall, we were just talking about PDS's success in North America.
Yes.
Their sales have surged by an impressive 70% this period.
It's certainly a testament to their strategic approach to global expansion.
Absolutely, but what were the key factors that fueled this growth?
Well, a few things played a role.
Okay.
First, PDS has been very intentional about partnering with the right retailers in North America. They've really focused on establishing relationships with retailers that align with their strengths and their target customer base.
So it's not just about blindly expanding into a new market, it's about strategically selecting the right partners.
Exactly. And they've also been very adept at adapting their product offerings to suit North American tastes and preferences.
Okay.
They've invested in market research and trend analysis to ensure they're delivering what consumers actually want.
So it sounds like they're striking a balance between leveraging their existing expertise and adapting to those local market nuances.
Right. And we shouldn't overlook the role of their cost optimization initiatives.
Yeah.
By streamlining their operations and improving efficiency, PDS has been able to offer competitive pricing in a market that's known for its price sensitivity.
Right. It all ties back to that fourth pillar of their growth strategy.
Yes.
Implementing those strategic cost initiatives.
Exactly. It's not just about cutting costs. It's about becoming more competitive and delivering value to customers.
Now let's switch gears for a moment and talk about this one PDS philosophy.
Okay.
It's a recurring theme in their materials, and it seems central to their overall strategy.
It is the one PDS philosophy is all about breaking down silos within the organization,
Okay.
fostering collaboration, and leveraging their collective expertise across different divisions.
So almost like they're creating this unified ecosystem within the company
Right.
where different teams and departments work together seamlessly.
That's a great way to put it. It's about recognizing that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
By integrating their operations and sharing knowledge, PDS can create a more agile, responsive, and innovative organization.
And we see this reflected in everything they do, right?
We do.
From their cost transformation project with BCG, which involves multiple verticals working together,
Yes.
to their global suppliers meet, which brings together vendors from all across their network.
Absolutely. It's about fostering a culture of collaboration, not competition,
Right.
both internally and externally.
And this approach aligns perfectly with their broader strategy.
Yeah.
Think about it. They're deepening relationships with existing customers, acquiring new businesses, expanding into new markets. All of these initiatives require seamless coordination and a shared vision. You know, this one PDS approach reminds me of the concept of a diversified investment portfolio.
Okay.
By spreading their risk across different markets, product categories, and business units, PDS is creating a more resilient and stable organization.
Right.
If one area experiences a downturn, the others can help to cushion the blow.
That's a great analogy, and it highlights the importance of strategic diversification in today's volatile business environment.
Now, in the first part of our deep dive, we talked about how PDS actually benefited from the closure of many Ted Baker stores.
We did.
They were able to pivot away from retail and lean into wholesale.
Right, and this pivot speaks volumes about their agility and their adaptability.
But wouldn't the closure of those stores have also disrupted their supply chain and created uncertainty? I mean, they were losing a significant distribution channel.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But PDS was able to mitigate these challenges by leveraging their existing infrastructure and their relationships.
Okay.
Remember, they already had strong connections with retailers through their wholesale business.
So they were able to quickly redirect their inventory and fulfill orders through those existing channels.
Exactly. And this ability to adapt quickly to changing circumstances is a key strength for PDS. It allows them to navigate uncertainty and capitalize on opportunities that might arise from unexpected events.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the rise of direct-to-consumer brands.
Okay.
These brands are increasingly bypassing those traditional retailers and selling directly to consumers online.
Right.
Does this trend pose a threat to PDS's business model, which is largely built around serving those larger retailers?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's one that PDS is keenly aware of.
Okay.
But instead of viewing this trend as a threat, they're actually looking for ways to leverage it to their advantage.
That's interesting. Can you elaborate on that? How are they planning to adapt to the rise of direct-to-consumer brands?
Well, for starters, PDS already has experience working directly with brands through their brand management division.
Oh.
They're not solely reliant on those big retailers.
Right. They've got that experience with Ted Baker where they essentially took over the management of the brand's wholesale and concession business.
Exactly. And that experience has given them valuable insights into the direct-to-consumer market.
Okay.
They've learned how to build brand awareness,
Yeah.
manage online sales channels, and engage directly with consumers.
So they've got the foundation and the experience. It's almost like they're ahead of the curve in some ways.
In a way, yes, they're not starting from scratch. They've already dipped their toes into the direct-to-consumer waters.
But how can they really capitalize on this trend? What's their strategy?
Well, imagine PDS offering their sourcing manufacturing and even brand management expertise directly to those emerging direct-to-consumer brands.
So it's almost like becoming a one-stop shop for those brands that don't want to build out their entire supply chain from scratch.
Right?
They could leverage PDS's existing network expertise and infrastructure.
Exactly. PDS could become their strategic partner,
Yeah.
handling everything from design and production to delivery.
And this approach would be a win-win for both PDS and those direct-to-consumer brands.
It would.
PDS would gain access to a new and rapidly growing market,
Right?
while those brands would benefit from PDS's scale, efficiency, and expertise.
It's a brilliant strategy, and it aligns perfectly with their One PDS philosophy.
Yes.
By integrating their capabilities and offering a comprehensive suite of services, they can position themselves as the go-to partner for both traditional retailers and emerging direct-to-consumer brands.
Precisely. And this approach reflects a brighter trend we're seeing across industries. The rise of these specialized platforms offering tailored services instead of one company trying to do everything. You've got specialized players excelling in specific areas.
Right, and then those players can connect and collaborate, creating a more flexible and responsive ecosystem.
So it's fascinating to see how PDS is embracing this shift and positioning themselves for future growth.
It is.
Okay, so we've gone from questioning whether PDS can survive in this new world to envisioning how they could actually dominate it.
That's the power of a good deep dive, isn't it?
It is. It forces you to think critically, challenge assumptions, and explore different perspectives.
Absolutely.
And speaking of challenging assumptions, let's revisit this whole cost optimization thing.
Okay.
While it's certainly important for PDS to be efficient and profitable,
Yeah.
could there be a downside to focusing too heavily on cost reduction?
That's a really insightful question, and it's one that deserves careful consideration.
Okay.
While cost optimization is crucial for competitiveness, it's important to strike a balance.
Right.
If a company focuses solely on cutting costs, it risks sacrificing quality innovation and ultimately customer satisfaction.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're maximizing efficiency without compromising the things that truly matter to your customers.
Exactly.
So how can PDS ensure they're not just cutting costs for the sake of cutting costs?
Well, I think their collaborative approach is key here.
Okay.
By involving suppliers, employees, and other stakeholders in their cost optimization efforts.
Yeah.
They're ensuring that they're not just implementing top-down mandates, but rather they're finding solutions that work for everyone involved.
And that approach seems to be working well for them.
It does.
Remember, they even held their first ever global suppliers meet in Delhi. They're not just dictating terms, they're actively engaging their suppliers in the process.
Exactly, and that's a smart move.
Uh-huh.
By fostering a sense of partnership and shared responsibility, PDS is more likely to achieve sustainable cost reductions without sacrificing quality or innovation.
So it's all about balance.
It is.
Cost optimization is important, but it needs to be done strategically and collaboratively.
Precisely. And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, it's important to keep this concept of balance in mind.
Okay.
PDS is facing a complex and ever-changing landscape.
Yeah.
They need to be agile, adaptable, and strategic in their decision-making.
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps most importantly, they need to remember that success ultimately depends on delivering value to their customers, whether those customers are large retailers or emerging direct-to-consumer brands.
We've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
A lot.
From PDS's impressive growth in North America to their One PDS philosophy and their strategic approach to cost optimization.
It's been great.
And we've even explored how they're positioning themselves for the rise of those direct-to-consumer brands.
It's been fascinating.
But there's still more to uncover, so stay with us as we wrap things up in the final part of our deep dive into PDS Ltd. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've spent the last two parts of this episode unpacking PDS Limited's Q3 FY25 performance, and I have to say, they're really making some strategic moves.
They're firing on all cylinders, strong financial performance, strategic acquisitions, a commitment to operational efficiency, and a really forward-thinking approach to navigating industry shifts.
It's interesting to see how they're managing to thrive in what's considered a pretty turbulent time for the global apparel industry. We're talking economic uncertainty, shifting consumer demands, supply chain disruptions, and that ever-present pressure to become more sustainable.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to juggle.
Yeah, it's a challenging landscape for any apparel company.
Yeah.
But what sets PDS apart is their proactive approach.
Yeah.
They're not just reacting to events, they're anticipating them and positioning themselves accordingly.
That's a key takeaway for you, the listener, in any field, in any endeavor. That ability to anticipate and adapt is crucial.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. PDS is constantly scanning the horizon,
Yeah.
identifying potential threats and opportunities, and adjusting their strategy accordingly. They're not waiting for things to happen to them. They're actively shaping their own future.
It's like they've got this internal radar system,
Yeah,
constantly picking up signals and guiding their course.
that's a great analogy. And it highlights the importance of staying informed, being curious, and always being willing to learn and evolve, which really is at the heart of what we do here at the Deep Dive.
Exactly. We're all about empowering you, the listener, with the knowledge and insights you need to navigate your own world. We're your guides, your companions on this journey of discovery.
We're your shortcut to understanding the forces shaping the world around you.
We're diving deep into these fascinating business stories, not just to entertain, but to equip you with valuable tools and perspectives.
It's about looking at the world through a different lens and recognizing patterns and connections that you might otherwise miss.
And PDS is a prime example of how a company can not only survive, but thrive in a complex, rapidly evolving market. They're setting an example for other businesses, and individuals for that matter, on how to embrace change and turn challenges into opportunities. So as we wrap up this deep dive into PDS Limited, remember that the lessons we've uncovered extend far beyond the realm of apparel sourcing.
They do. This isn't just about business. It's about strategy, resilience, adaptation, and the power of collaboration. It's about understanding that we're all part of a complex, interconnected system,
Yeah.
and that our success depends on our ability to navigate that system effectively.
It's about taking that one PDS philosophy and applying it to your own life. Think about your own work, your own goals, your own challenges. Are there silos you can break down connections? You can strengthen opportunities for collaboration you might be overlooking.
Those are great questions for you to consider. We hope this deep dive has inspired you to think differently, to see the world with fresh eyes, and to approach your own endeavors with a renewed sense of purpose. We encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter most.
Because in a world overflowing with information, it's the depth of our understanding that truly sets us apart.
So until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep diving deep.
And thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.